Okay, well, here we go. Step 2, arguably step 1. The beginning of building your script, building your automation, starts with getting a reference to the GPO that you want to work with. As we mentioned in the overview, there's a couple different ways that you can go about doing this, but at the end of the day, that's your initial step. Connect to the GPO, and then we can start exploring that GPO and making changes and validating settings and et cetera, et cetera. So let's get started. The primary way to do this is directly with the get FDMGP Object commandlet that comes from the SDM group policy module. And it's pretty straightforward. Just to give you a little sidetrack, our devs did a really good job with the help functions. So, or the help data, help content, sorry. So if I say help get FDMGP Object, and maybe for the sake of this example, I just want to look at a parameter called GPO name. Maybe I'm having a hard time figuring out what the syntax is. Who knows? But I have the ability to say, hey, give me help on this commandlet. Specifically, give me help on this parameter, or show me this help file with all the content and the examples and all of the parameters and the syntax and everything that you need. So there's a lot of different things that you can do in here to get help, but let's bypass that. So I want to, and because I'm going to be building a script, I want to store this in a placeholder. So I want to get a reference to a GPO. Get FDMGP Object is the primary commandlet. I'm using the GPO name parameter. And remember, if I want to get help from this guy, I can see right here that the content of that, or the data that that parameter is expecting, is going to be in the form of something that looks a little bit like LDAP or ADSI. So I'm going for a domain. I'm going to use my GPO name as opposed to a GUID, but I could use a GUID if I want. Let's see. Get GPO. I think it's a how-to GPAE. I want to get this GPO. This is the one I'm going to work with. There's my GUID. If I choose to use that, I don't typically like to do this, but GPO : / domain name, and then the GUID, and then I can reference that. Great. Now, if I want to just use the name of the GPO and not the GUID, this is called HTGPAE, I have to use a switch called open by name. I just have to tell the commandlet, or tell the function, tell the commandlet that I'm referencing a name here as opposed to a GUID. Either way, it's going to work. If I look at the results, there's my group policy object. That's what it looks like. I can see what containers exist at the top level of the GPR, what the licensing mode is, what the GUID is, the path and sysvol. Some good information, but now I have that GPO referenced. I have a connection to it, and I can work with that. So how we work with that comes in the next video. So let's go back. I want to do it again, but this time I want to use the script module as opposed to the core capability. Instead of get FDMGP Object with that syntax, let's try this. I'll say GPAE. Well, this time I'll do 2. I'm going to use something called get FDMGPAE, get GPAE GPO. There's a whole bunch of commandlets we're going to explore here, but this is the first one, just the get. I don't have to worry about a lot of syntax here. I can simply say the name of my GPO, and I'm going to be able to reference it that way. The script has all the capabilities built into it. typo, GAPE, GPAE1. So you can see the first time I run it, it actually initializes that script module, but from that point on, it just calls it up. But look at that syntax, how much simpler that is. Let's look at those two things side by side. They do the same thing. Get FDMGP Object, GPO name with that path opened by name, or get GPA GPO with that name. Very cool. Now, again, the script module, as we mentioned in the first video, is really designed to provide you building blocks. So let's open up this, this actual advanced function here. It's going to be on my machine under Windows PowerShell modules. SDM GPAE script, there's get GPAE GPO, and I can look at that. There's some really good learning to be had here, to be honest. So if you're a student of PowerShell, which most of us are, take the time to open it up and dig in and see how it's been authored, and you know, modify it, make changes to it, do things that you want to do that are better for your organization. There's help content in here. Of course, it's an advanced function, so you have the commandlet binding, what parameters are available, and then all of the goodness, what it's doing to make it easier. If you see this line here, it's just, again, using get FDMGP Object, and it's able to convert the data based on the parameters that I provide. So anyway, good learning stuff, and it's going to be your preference. You need to have this module available with you, obviously, where you're running the script. You also have to have the GPAE installed. So either way, whatever's good for you, both do the same thing. Come back. We've connected to the GPO. Let's explore it, and then we'll get into grabbing containers and references to settings and things like that. Thanks.